Hey, what's up, people? I've got this Dremel Model 3000 with a slightly less than useful power cord. It's just dangling by a few threads, as you can see. So, yeah, there's no way to get this thing working. This thing's a hazard. So, this cord has to go. So, that's what we're going to do real quick. We're going to replace that cord. And I've seen that you can actually find new cords online to replace, if you got a bad one or if it's like broken or whatever. I didn't buy one. I happen to have one already from a previous Dremel that I had that like fried out, and the cord was still good, so I've kept it around. So it looks like this should be a pretty decent replacement for the one that's currently on it. So let's go through the process of how we're going to do that. First of all, we're going to need a Torx 15. So that's going to be for removing the screws that are holding the body together. It's got 4. And we're also going to remove the brushes. And for that, we're going to use a small flathead. So let's remove the brushes, first of all. And these just unscrew and then they just pop out. The body itself is mainly made up of 2 halves. So we got this sort of a top half where we got the control and the little button. The bottom is pretty much the cover. However, this one has 3 pieces. It also has these 2 side pieces. So as I remove these screws, the 2 halves will come apart. But these 2 labels, they have to be peeled off in order to be able to release the 2 halves. Okay, so I've got all 4 screws loose. I can just dump those out. Okay, so after peeling both of these stickers on the side outwards, I can pull on the bottom part. And like I said, this is specifically for this 3000, but I've taken several other Dremels apart before, and they're mostly constructed pretty similarly. So, got one that you need to replace it on. It's probably going to be a pretty similar set of steps. There we go. After shimmying it loose a bit, this comes off. There's the cord. And we're going to pull up on this assembly. Usually the entire rotor and everything comes out. You might want to be careful with this side. There's a little button in this ring that are used for the locking part, for when you want to like unscrew or screw on the chuck part. What we want access to is this small sort of black box in the rear. I guess it would help if I remove these 2 side covers. There we go. That was a little more violent than I was hoping for, but this is what I meant. This small metal button can pop out. That just goes back into that hole. And then this sort of a ring, little spring thing, just goes on there like that. Now we need to pull these wires off of this. This is the regulator block, and this can come off of the coils. You just pull it off like that. And this wire already pulled out, which probably means it wasn't on there very tight. I found that the easiest way to pull this out, because there's no sort of like a spring or anything to loosen it up, is to just sort of give it a gentle twist back and forth, and the entire thing comes out. And so now I'm going to take my replacement cord. Okay, so the neutral wire was in this hole, and I'm going to try to get it in there as straight as I can. Make sure that feels pretty secure. Make sure I get this black one in there feeling pretty secure as well, because for some reason that other one wasn't on very securely. But yeah, that's not good. Okay, let's open up the case and see what's going on with this side. To open up this case, it's pretty easy. There's a few clips we can see that are holding this back portion onto the rest of the body. So I just need to carefully pop this open, and then we'll have access to that connector to see what's going on. I'm going to stick a plastic blade into that small gap just to help me pry it up a bit. You can see it's already sort of coming apart. And that one already popped out. This one, just pushing it a bit. There you go. Yeah, it's coming apart a little easier than I expected, but there we go. And now this came out, and so did the little switch slider. Okay, oh, okay, I see what it is. So it looks like that little spring contact has sort of stretched out a little too much. We can pull this out. Yeah, it's going to require removing the small control board. Just got to pull this straight out. And it's a little dusty, so while I'm in here, I will also give this a bit of a brush. That contact As we can see, it goes around, it makes contact with that portion of the board. Or could be completely wrong. It's okay, so that goes out. It makes contact with the... actually, it doesn't make contact at all with anything here. That's one of the terminals for the switch. That's what that rides on. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to take that terminal and bend it out, just like so. This one here looks like it's kind of gone sideways a bit. Let's just bend it. It's a little bit more square. Make sure that that can go behind it, just like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. And there we go. I'm just going to give this a quick little brush. I don't know if this board is available for purchase anywhere, but I've had other Dremels where basically the resistive material became so degraded that it stopped working, or this SCR would like burn out. I'd have to look it up and see if this is available, but yeah, this is in my experience, it's been one of the more common failures of Dremels. I've only had one other Dremel where the armature like completely, well, it didn't completely burn up, but it did burn up, and so the coils were bad, and so that didn't work anymore. But this one's still fully functional except for the power cord. While I'm in here, I'm also going to give the neutral line a little bit of a, just kind of pull it out a little bit, just so it can hold on to that neutral line a little tighter. You can see the neutral goes straight out onto that pin, onto the stator coils. So I'm going to push all this back into place. Okay, there we go. That looks like it's going to be a pretty tight fit. And then this just slides back into place like that. Looking pretty good. Okay, and we'll slide the control board back in. Now, this part's a little tricky. You want to have this thing in that slot that runs along the length of the body there. Make sure that that's in place like that. And then this piece, it rides along that groove that kind of arcs. So you got to make sure that you get that portion of it in the middle. There we go. That's in place now. So you can see how that moves the contacts back and forth. I don't know if there's any easier way to put this together. It's always been my experience that you have to sort of like shimmy it around a bit in order to get things to fit back into where they're supposed to be. Okay, now we got to try to get this thing back on. Line up the clips to where they're supposed to engage. There's actually a total of 4 clips. You can see there's one right there, but that one's kind of behind where you can't see it. So we just got to make sure that that goes back into its proper place. Okay, I'm sliding it in slowly, and I'm just going to sort of move this around a bit to try to get the slider to go back in place. There we go. That feels like, yeah, see, that went in totally fine. You can see that the slider's moving around. That would be the off position. That contact on the very far left goes up onto the part of the plastic casing. Now let's go ahead and try to get these back in. Now they should fit a lot. There we go. That's a more snug feeling contact. Let's go ahead and do the live side, and that's still not grabbing on. Oh, actually, there you go. Yeah, that's grabbing on. So yeah, that's good. All right, let's put this back together. It's got these 2 wipes on each contact. Those go to the pins on this control piece. And now we can go ahead and reassemble the rest of this. Actually, I don't know if it makes a difference, but this side, when it was in the top of the case, this side was pointing out this way. So I'm going to turn the controller, speed controller, the other way. There we go, bottomed out all the way. And bearing in the back needs this rubber bushing. Make sure everything drops back into place. Okay, so that's pretty secure. The wires, they fit into those slots. So I'm just going to make sure that I get the black one and the white one through there. Okay, now this piece, I'm just going to sort of twist it up a little bit just because there's a bit of a slack on the 2 wires. Make sure that it fits into the case. Okay, that feels pretty secure. That's going right through the middle. These are in all the way. That's good. All right, let's put the 2 side pieces on. Got 1. Got 2. And the cover. Yeah, there we go. So once we tighten on the screws, There shouldn't be any major gaps. And the last screw going on. There we go. Gaps closed up nicely. This cord doesn't look like it's ever been replaced or anything. It looks all original. And one thing I probably should have done when I removed the carbon brushes is taken note of which one came from where and how it went oriented. I didn't do that, so I'm just going to have to pop them in and hope for the best. And not that it's going to affect much of anything. They're just going to wear themselves back down to how they need to be. But I guess if you can just put them back where they came from, then you'd be a little bit better off. All right, got both brushes back on. Let's give it a test spin. I might need to apply something on there to stick this side back down, because this side seems okay, but this one's sticking out a bit. That might get annoying. But for now, let's just go ahead and plug it in and test it. There we go. It's plugged in. It's off. And there we go. That doesn't sound exactly good, but I think it's what I was talking about with the brushes, that they're not in their original position, so they're going to have to wear down a bit. Okay, I reoriented the brushes, and it seems to be running a lot better now. It sounds way more normal. So, yeah, when you remove these, yeah, just keep track of which way, or, you know, which position it came out of and, like, which direction it was oriented in. It'll just give you a little bit less of a headache later on. And so, as I said, this cord, I've seen them for sale on eBay as well as Amazon. You just search for like Dremel replacement cord, and something should pop up. I've seen sets of like singles and like 2 cords. So, quick and simple thing to do. I'm glad that I got this working, because I use this a lot, as you could probably tell by this original cord. So that's going to do it. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see you guys around the bench.